Hel- Hello and welcome to the second installment of Falling Darkness Book 1, Masquerade of Madness. Today we are doing the first 4 pages of Chapter 1. And Chapter 1 is called Into Madness. Vincent closed his eyes in relief. It had been a very long week, trying to get Creed withdrawn from St. Kingston's High School for the Advanced in Mystical Arts and getting him enrolled in a human high school. He leaned back in his chair with his arms folded against his chest, very annoyed, even angry at Creed's professors. He was glad Creed was leaving Castlin. Castlin was never a very good home for Creed. Everyone knew that he was half Castlin and half Nard, so that meant no matter where Creed went in Castlin, he had to put up with people staring at him, throwing objects at him, saying vile things, and being constantly undermined. A lot for 16 years to bear. Vincent sighed and got out of his chair to see if Creed had finished packing. Vincent had no reason to do this, but he was getting tired of waiting. Besides, the constant banging coming from Creed's room plucked on his nerves. Maybe he was a bit curious, too. Vincent crept to the central air funnel of the tri-level domain he shared with his brother. Spreading his wings only slightly, he silently drifted up to the second floor landing. The wall immediately morphed, allowing Creed's doorway to manifest. Vincent hoped Creed would not notice his plan to intrude. He slowly poked his head into the room, only to see a completely amusing sight. Creed was fighting with his suitcase and losing. Creed slammed his fist down, trying to shut the overly stuffed suitcase, only to have it erupt in front of his face. Creed glared at it, picturing the best way to punish the useless piece of junk. Vincent chuckled. You know, the best way to punish something is to put it to good use. Creed blushed. How do you know what I'm thinking? Vincent laughed out loud, and Creed stared at him in disbelief. Vincent spoke in his fatherly tone. I raised you. How could I not know the workings of your mind? Besides, we are related by blood. You also remind me of her mother. She would think of ways to destroy them. Now finish getting ready. We leave in 1 hour. Creed groaned. He quickly looked down at his suitcase. Suddenly a quizzical look came across his face. Vincent noticed and held his breath, waiting for some ridiculous question. Creed opened his mouth, and Vincent thought, here it comes. Why don't things pack themselves? Vincent sighed with relief. He thought Creed was going to ask what was the best way to destroy it. Vincent shook his head and proceeded to withdraw himself from Creed's room. Returning to the central air funnel, he spread his wings and drifted down to the lower level. He shared living quarters of their domain. He stopped abruptly at the eating area when he heard a quick knock. Through the years, Vincent had learned it was best to avoid the knockers. He walked a bit further but stopped midway in the space and listened again. Sure enough, there were multiple Castlins talking at whisper level. Outside, again, Vincent decided to avoid them. He knew that when Castlins whispered, there was usually some violence intended. Ignoring the knock and whispers, he walked to his table and sat down. Suddenly, 2 very loud bangs from the outside were directed at the door. Vincent sighed. It was going to be 1 long hour. But finally the whisper spoke up louder. Bring us the lad. He does not know his place. We must have our eyes on him at all times. He must be dealt with. He is one of them. He is a monster. Vincent snapped at the last word. Monster, he muttered. His eyes went from a golden yellow to a flaming red quickly. Jade, he spoke with authority, summoning his servant. Sure enough she came. She looked at her master. He seemed to be calm, but she knew underneath his calm exterior was a boiling interior. She watched as his bluish-black hair seemed to collect charges that roamed around freely. His eyes returned to their normal dark blue. Are you charging your energy? Jade studied her master a little longer, and then relaxed. Vincent looked at Jade. best described as a floating blob of salt water, faceless and shapeless, but his loyal protector. You are working on my last nerve. And yes, I am charging. What would you like me to do, Master? Vincent turned his gaze upward. Nothing yet. But when the time comes, protect Creed at all cost. She floated towards Vincent, her concern now apparent. But what about you? I can protect myself, but if Creed were to try and fight back, he would demand his life, saying they were unjustly attacked. I see, you are a good big brother. But do you think the king would allow it? No, he would not. But the council would not think twice about ending Creed's life. Jade floated over to Vincent and sighed. Even considering that if he should die by their hands, another war would start? I never said that Castellans are forgiving creatures. A loud thud interrupted them as Castellans who gathered from the outside broke into the domain. Hearing this, but oblivious to what was transpiring, Creed immediately left his chamber to venture down the air funnel to the eating area. Vincent, are you all right? Creed questioned as his concern was building. Vincent leaned back in his chair, smirking confidently. Just fine, he responded. Creed soon noticed the other Castellans were gathering in their domain. He felt clueless and very uncomfortable. We have a guest? Vincent let out a sinister chuckle, low and creepy. Creed stared at the broken doorway with a transfixed gaze. What happened here? He asked, trying to assess their situation. The group of Castellans became quiet, unnerved to see Creed. The fear of him was evident. Vincent started to really shake with laughter, taking the Castellans off guard. Master, are you really going to fight? Asked Jade, her concern growing with every second. Vincent looked up at her momentarily. His attention was on Creed. Go, little brother. They will not touch you. They are too afraid. I see, Creed was finally beginning to understand the situation. Vincent chuckled at him. Heh, airhead, he murmured affectionately. Creed let out an intimidated growl. I am not. Tune in next week for the next 4 chapters.